Hello friends and welcome. I'm super glad that you're here. Today we are going to be talking all about the glutes. I know it's something that's really popular right now, so we're going to be talking about how you can lift and build your glutes and really just connect to them in general. So even if one of your goals isn't, to build a giant booty or anything like that, that's completely fine. Connecting to your glutes is something that's super important and key for getting the most out of all of your workouts for just overall health, because your glutes are a prime mover, accelerator, decelerator, things like that. And then just it really having strong glutes and functioning glutes really helps to prevent knee pain, lower back pain, and other stuff like that. So even if your goal is not to have a massive butt, which is popular right now but not necessary, this vlog can still be super helpful for you, especially if you feel like you are a quad dominant person. So these are going to be some tips to kind of really engage the glutes in the movements that are supposed to be hitting the glutes and not just the quads, because a lot of us are quad dominant, especially now that we sit so much. Our glutes fall asleep, they get used to not working, and the quads just pop in and take over during our exercises. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I've got my little sheet, and you're in luck today because on the back of it, it says brilliant thoughts. So no matter what I say off this sheet, we know that it's brilliant. All right, so here we go, guys. Using your glutes effectively for lifting or building or just, recruiting them in general life for your overall benefit and being pain-free. All right. So the first thing that we're going to talk about real quick is waking them up in your warm-up. It is so important. I know a lot of times, we'll do a general warm-up, we'll get our heart rate up a little bit, spend a few minutes just feeling like we're ready to get into that workout. But it's super key, especially on leg day, on total body day, when you are going to be doing movements that your glutes should really be turning on and helping with, to effectively warm them up beforehand. It's also really going to help you be able to feel, the difference in when you're using them, when you're recruiting them, and when you're not. So what I'm talking about here is throwing in a few exercises that are going to specifically target them in your warm-up. So you can keep with your general warm-up, that's completely fine, and just add on the end to 2 or 3 minutes of really targeting the glutes with, it can be a banded kickback, it can be monster walks, band walks, bridges, anything that for you really makes you feel that connection to your glutes. So I know I've talked about it before, but having that mind-muscle connection where you're like, okay, I'm gonna turn my glute on, I'm gonna squeeze it, okay, it's working. I'm gonna use it for this exercise, okay, it's working. So any exercise that you can really feel it working and really feel that mind-muscle connection with it is a great one to use in your warm-up, because it really gets you in tune with them pre-workout. So that's super important. Just adding a few minutes, 20-second, 30-second intervals of those type of exercises, those floor exercises, those very glute-specific exercises that a lot of times we'll see in burnouts and things like that. Just adding a few of them to your warm-up can really help to activate the glutes before you get into your workout, so they're ready to go and ready to be used in those exercises coming up. All right, this is just a couple tips for during your workout that can really help you to find the glutes, I guess, is a good way to put it. One of the things is going to be getting your weight out of your toes for these exercises. So with squats and all the variations of squats, so sumo squats, chair squats, regular squats, sit squats, all that stuff, deadlifts, lunges, things like that, we really want to get that weight out of our toes. When our weight starts shifting into our toes, so we're going to pretend that your hand is your foot here, the palm is the heel, and your fingers are your toes. You really want your weight in the balls of your feet and the heel. You don't want your toes getting all of your weight and your heels popping off the ground, because that's just going to force your quads to start trying to take over and really trying to help more than they should. Now, a lot of these exercises for the lower body, don't get me wrong, will recruit your quads in some way as well. There's lots of different muscles working when you're doing all of these movements. It's not just your glutes for most of them, but the glutes should be a prime mover in a lot of them. And so shifting your weight back into your heels and out of the toes, pretending that those toes can't touch the floor if it helps you, lifting that big toe up to remind you, okay, shift my weight back, that's where it needs to be. It can really, really help you, just getting into a position that's best for you to start feeling it in your glutes. So that's one thing you can do. Another one is going to be to adjust your stance. So with squats and deadlifts and all of those different things, I know it's very, there's a form out there that you should be using, is correct form and things like that. And that's very, very true. There is a form that you should be using, and learning that proper technique and proper form is so key, and that's also going to help you to engage the correct muscles. But it's also important to remember that we are all built differently. So my, ankle to knee to hip lengths are going to be different than yours, or different than the person's next to us, or if we're in a group class, everyone's built slightly differently. Just having a centimeter longer, shin or whatever can make a difference in, your foot position, how upright your torso is going to be, things like that. So I think it's very important for all of us to realize that yes, we need to learn good form. We need to have proper form to be engaging those right muscles, getting everything we can out of our workout. But we're also going to have small variations. So while I may feel the proper muscles recruiting best when my feet are slightly outside my hips, someone may feel it better from an even slightly wider stance, or maybe even a slightly narrower stance. Now, I'm not talking about going from a regular squat to a chair squat here, because those are completely different movements. But, shuffling your feet a little bit, shifting them around, within a few inches can really help you to personally find how you feel best in that exercise. So, everyone's sumo squat is going to have a slightly different foot position, and how far out your feet are going to be is just going to be slightly different for everyone. It doesn't have to be, okay, 1 foot apart and 3 paces to the left and that's it. You can't move your feet. You're done. If you don't do it that way, it's not right. So that's not what we're talking about when we say correct form. You want correct form, and then within that, you want to shift around a little bit and find what works best for you, to feel your muscles working, feel the correct muscles turning on and helping you through that movement. So I talked really long about that. And so before we leave that, just something that is important. Before you start adding a bunch of weight, because I know that, it's out there and it's true that adding weight is how you build your glutes. You need to continuously challenge them and continuously push them. We need to have our form down first. So connecting to those muscles and getting your form down comes first. Then you start adding more weight. Then you start challenging them with, higher reps, higher weight, all that different kind of stuff, more complicated moves. So form is king and form is key. It's going to help you so much, all right? And connecting to those muscles is as well. So form, muscle connection, and then you can really start to challenge them. All right, so those are just some things that can really help you within the workout. And something that I wanted to talk about before we go, and be done with this whole glute talk is why this is important. I mentioned it briefly beforehand. So our glutes are some of the biggest muscles in our bodies, and we sit a bunch and they kind of just fall asleep because, I'm sitting right here. My glutes don't have to do anything. I'm literally sitting on them. They're doing nothing. They're falling asleep. And if, most of us sit for 8 or so hours a day at work, and then we have a 30-minute commute each way, maybe an hour. So, we're sitting 10 hours a day, and that's not counting when we go home and watch TV at night or, do whatever we do. So our glutes are not called upon very often, when really they are a muscle that is a prime mover for us. So whether you're trying to build glutes or not, using this information and working them is super, super important, because they play a huge role in our body, in our alignment, in our movements and things like that, or they should. They don't always anymore, but they should. So it can really help. Having strong and active glutes can really help, with knee issues. Besides the fact that using correct form and recruiting the glutes can help take stress off your knees during squats and things that maybe are bothering them a bit, and that could be why. They also having strong glutes just helps with knee pain, lower back pain, all of that stuff in daily life. So whether or not you're trying to build massive glutes, lift your glutes, things like that. This information can be super, super helpful for just your daily life. That's part of why I wanted to really talk about it and share it. It's not something that's only meant for people who have huge booty goals. So that's not like one of my main goals or anything either, but I know the importance of having active, strong glutes. So I really wanted to share this. And yeah, so I just wanted to add that before we were done because it is super important, super key. And this is probably already longer than I meant to go today, but I just really wanted to get all that out there. And I hope that it was helpful. I hope that you'll take some of this and try it and use it maybe in some of the workouts that, I'm doing on YouTube with you and things like that. So even within those workouts where it's not massively heavy or anything like that, it's super important to remind yourself of these things and, apply them where you can and when you can. So thank you guys for being here. You're the best. Be sure to like and subscribe and all that wonderful stuff that helps me keep going. And yeah, thanks for being here. I hope this helped, and let me know what you think below. I love hearing from you. So have an awesome day, guys. I hope it's great. And remember to turn on those glutes.